Good morning, primary class. This is your Friday lesson. As Paul's friends begged him not to go to Jerusalem, he felt sorry for them. He knew they loved him, but he didn't let them change his mind. He had already suffered much for Jesus, and now he said that he was willing to become a prisoner at Jerusalem or even die there for Jesus. Acts 21:13 tells us that. Then Paul answered, What mean ye to weep, and need break my heart? For I am ready not only to be bound, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Jesus. But Paul's friends kept begging him to change his mind. They didn't want him to go where terrible things might happen to him. But Paul didn't even think of changing his mind. He had never forgotten what Jesus had done for him, and he was glad to do anything for Jesus, even die for him. But Paul was sad because most of the people of his own nation were still like he had been before he became a Christian. They didn't like Christians, and they wanted to stop Paul from preaching about Christ. For many years they had told terrible things about him that were not true, and even some of the Christian leaders in Jerusalem had believed part of what Paul's enemies had said about him. Do you think that he had a good reason to be sad? I think so. At last, Paul's friends gave up trying to keep him from going to Jerusalem, so they packed their things and got ready to leave for Caesarea. Some other friends joined them and walked all of the 64 miles to Jerusalem. Wow, that's a long way. Verse 14 through 16 tells us about that. And when he would not be persuaded, we ceased saying, the will of the Lord be done. And after those days we took up our carriages and went up to Jerusalem. There went with us also certain of the disciples of Caesarea, and brought with them one Manason of Cyprus, an old disciple, with whom we should lodge. Now, think about this. If you had been Paul, what would you have been thinking as you finally went through the gates of Jerusalem, knowing that you were going to have something bad happen to you? That's something to think about. And I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to record your memory verse to practice for you this week. But if you let me or Teacher Becky know that you watched these videos, you get credit for studying your lesson, and also we'll give you an opportunity to do your memory verse next week instead. And I'll get a hold of that. I just grabbed the wrong lesson, and the booklet I have only has the story. It doesn't have the memory verse or the story from the back page. So I'll go ahead and record those for a later time so that you can practice and you can hear the story in case you didn't get your lesson. And just be sure that you let us know that you've watched so we know you studied your lesson, okay? We'll see you tomorrow.